Good afternoon. I'm Dan Hawkins, House Majority Leader of the Kansas House of Representatives, and today I am joined by a special guest, Susan Humphries from, what district are you from?
99.
99, which is on the east side of Wichita. I'm on the west side of Wichita, so we're not neighbors, but we're really good friends.
Yep, totally.
So Susan has been working on the constitutional amendment with the folks that are working on that for a while. And today we wanted to come before you and share some information and maybe dispel any myths that are out there. So Susan, yep. You've been working on this constitutional amendment. Tell us a little bit about the value of them both amendments.
Okay, so it all started in April when the Supreme Court came down with an opinion that basically was out of nowhere that said there's a right to abortion in the Kansas Constitution. But that's not all they did. At first we thought that's what they did, but what they also did was they made the review much higher. So if we want to put any regulations on abortion whatsoever, they made the hurdle that we have to get over for those regulations so much higher. It basically leaves any reasonable regulations that we have put in place, that you put in place through the years that you've been in the House, vulnerable to just falling apart and having unlimited abortion, unregulated abortion in the state. So that's why we feel like it's so important that we go ahead and we pass this constitutional amendment as soon as possible so that we can take care of that.
And the constitutional amendment really just returns us to a pre-Supreme Court decision. It returns the ability to legislate reasonable regulations to the legislature. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. So instead of 7 people behind closed doors deciding what's going to happen with this issue, the constitutional amendment takes it back to how it was in early April of 2019 and says the legislators do have the ability to regulate abortion.
Right. So on the as this has come out, there's been a lot of misinformation, and I actually attended one of your committee hearings, the joint committee you had, and I consistently heard them talk about you are going to ban abortions.
Yes,
is that what this is about?
Absolutely not. And that's why we have to keep that in front of the people, that we are not banning abortion. We're just taking it back to what we were before. So you could get an abortion in Kansas in March of 2019, and you still will be able to after this. So we're not banning it. No matter how we feel about that piece, the piece we're trying to do right now is just get us back to where we can have reasonable regulations. For instance, parental consent, 24-hour waiting period, licensure for abortion clinics, informed consent for women to sign, so they know they have a right to know who's going to be doing this procedure. Are those persons licensed? And so we're just trying to get it back to where we have reasonable regulations in place in Kansas.
So it's really not this boogeyman out there that they want to portray it. This is really just almost, you could say, returning us to status quo before the court decision.
And we're not even ourselves returning it back. We're asking the people of Kansas to vote if they want it returned back.
That is perfect. So a lot of people don't realize that. So we have to pass it out of the House and Senate, but then it goes before the people, and the people ultimately decide.
Exactly. It should be on the ballot in August for the people to decide how they feel about it. And you know from the emails you've gotten, and I do too, people feel so passionately about this topic, so we should let the people vote about it.
And even the Kansas City Star came out with the same thing, right?
Let Kansans vote on this issue.
So this is going to be an issue that we're working on it right now. You will probably see some movement this week and further movement next week. Stay tuned, and I'm sure we will have some more videos on this issue as we go along. Thank you for watching.